You are tired. Not physically, not the kind of tired that sleep can fix. You are tired of conversations that leave you smaller than before. Tired of saying yes when something in you wanted to hesitate. Tired of explaining yourself and still being misunderstood. Look at your last few conversations. Really look at them. Not what was said on the surface, but what was taken from you underneath. Your time, your certainty, your position. And the strangest part? No one forced you. You gave it away. One answer at a time. You think manipulation is loud, obvious, aggressive. You imagine dominance as pressure, confrontation, control. It's not. The most dangerous form of control doesn't feel like control at all. It feels like a question. Soft, casual, almost forgettable. A question that sounds like respect. A question that sounds like honesty. A question that sounds like trust. And by the time you realize what just happened, the damage is already done. Because you answered. Niccolo Machiavelli spent his life watching power move between people. Not on battlefields, but across tables, in rooms, in conversations. And he noticed something most people never see. People don't lose power when they are attacked. They lose it when they answer the wrong question, at the wrong moment, to the wrong person, with full honesty. Because it felt safe. That's how it happens. Not through force, through permission. Here's the part you were never taught. From childhood, you were trained to respond instantly. A teacher asks you, answer. A parent asks you, comply. An authority figure questions you, speak. You were conditioned to believe that answering quickly makes you good, polite, honest, trustworthy, but it never made you powerful. Power begins in a place most people never develop. The pause. That split second between a question and your answer. Because in that space, something critical happens. You either keep control or you hand it over. Right now, that space barely exists for you. Questions come in, and your answers follow automatically. No filter, no resistance, no awareness of what's actually being taken. And that is exactly why certain people never stop using you. Because they don't need to manipulate you. They just need to ask. There are 5 questions. 5. Not complex, not aggressive, not suspicious. In fact, they're the kind of questions you hear every single day. At work, at home, from friends, from people you trust. And each one is designed to extract something specific from you, without you realizing it. Your agreement, your guard, your responsibility, your information, and ultimately, your autonomy. But be warned, the 5th question is different. It's not just another trap. It's the root, the one that makes all the others possible, the one that removes your defenses before the game even begins. And once you see it, once you truly understand what it does, you won't be able to go back to the way you used to respond. This is not self-help. This is not about being nicer, calmer, or more likable. This is about removing the invisible mechanisms that have been used on you your entire life. This is surgery. And once you see the strings, you can never go back to being the puppet. Let's begin the surgery. Let's begin the surgery. Number 1. The retroactive consent illusion. You've experienced this more times than you can count. At work, at home, with friends, with people who claim they respect you. But you never stop to see it for what it is. Someone makes a decision that affects you. They move your time. They volunteer you for something. They cross a line that was never theirs to cross. And then, after it's already done, after the action is complete, they turn to you and say, "You don't mind, right?" Pause. Listen carefully. That is not a question. The decision has already been made. The action has already happened. What you are being given is not a choice. It's a script where your role is already written, because the structure of that question is engineered for one outcome: agreement. Anything else comes with a cost. If you say, "Actually, I do mind," you immediately feel it. Tension, awkwardness, the subtle shift in how you're perceived. Now you're difficult. Now you're sensitive. Now you're the one making it a problem. And most people will do anything to avoid that. So they say it. It's fine, even when it's not. And in that moment, something invisible happens. You think you just kept the peace. But what you actually did was sign. You signed off on something you didn't choose. And the person asking, they learned something very precise about you. They learned that they don't need your permission. They can act first and collect your approval afterward. And they will do it again. But next time, it won't be the same size. It will be bigger, more invasive, more costly, more disrespectful. Because every time you accept what you didn't agree to, you raise the ceiling of what people think they can take from you. Niccolo Machiavelli understood this at a level most people never will. He wrote that people judge more by appearance than by reality. And that's exactly what this question creates. The appearance of consent. It makes it look like you agreed, like you were part of the decision, like your voice was included, even when it wasn't. And later, when you try to push back, they won't argue the event. They'll point to your response. But you said you were fine with it. And now, you're not just dealing with the situation. You're trapped inside your own words. That's the real trap. This question doesn't just take your agreement. It rewrites the past in their favor. So the next time you hear it, and you will, you don't mind, right? You don't rush to close the tension. You don't default to comfort. You don't protect their feelings at the cost of your position. You slow it down. And you say, calmly, "Actually, I would have preferred if you asked me first." No aggression, no emotion, no apology, just clarity. Because the moment you stop automatically approving what you didn't choose, something shifts. People stop informing you. They start consulting you. The dynamic changes, quietly, permanently. And it starts here, with one question you were never supposed to answer. Number 2, the honesty disguise. This one is more dangerous, because it doesn't come after a violation. It comes before it. And it arrives wearing something you've been trained to respect your entire life. Honesty. Someone looks at you, slight pause, softer tone. "Can I be honest with you?" And without thinking, you say yes. Of course you do. Because what kind of person refuses honesty? What kind of person says no to truth? So you open the door. Every single time. And in that moment, you give away something most people don't even realize they had. Control over what enters your mind. Because once you say yes, anything that follows is no longer just an opinion. It's framed as truth. Think about the last time someone said it to you. "Can I be honest with you?" What came next? Was it something that strengthened you? Or was it something that made you hesitate? Something that planted doubt? "I don't think you're ready. I'm not sure this is going to work. I think you're making a mistake." And now you're in a trap. Because you agreed. You gave permission. So if you react, if you push back, you don't look strong. You look defensive. You look like someone who can't handle the truth. That's how the frame works. It protects the speaker before they even speak. But here's the part most people never question. If something is truly honest, why does it need permission to be said? Real honesty doesn't ask for a runway. It doesn't need you to lower your guard before it arrives. It just exists. The people who genuinely care about you, they don't wrap their words in disclaimers. They say what needs to be said, and they stand behind it. No setup, no shield. But the ones who ask, they already know something. They know what they're about to say. Won't feel like support. So they prepare you. They soften you. They get your agreement before the impact hits. Niccolo Machiavelli understood this pattern long before modern psychology gave it a name. The most effective manipulations are always disguised as virtue, honesty, care, concern. Because once something is labeled as good, you stop questioning it. And that's when it becomes dangerous. So what happens when you break the pattern? When someone asks, "Can I be honest with you?" You don't comply automatically. You don't hand over control without knowing what you're accepting. You pause, and you say, "Depends on what you mean." Or even simpler, you can say it, "I'll decide what I take from it." Watch what happens next. Most people hesitate. They stumble, because their entire strategy depended on your immediate yes, on your reflex, on your conditioning. The moment you remove that, the mask slips, and suddenly, it doesn't sound like truth anymore. It sounds exactly like what it always was. An opinion that needed permission to land. That's the second question, and now you're starting to see it. Not just what people say, but what they're setting up before they say it. And if you think that's subtle, wait until you see the third. Because the next one doesn't just take something from you in the moment, it makes you carry it long after the conversation is over. Number 3, the decision transfer trap. This one feels different. The first two took something from you in the moment. Your agreement, your guard. This one, it gives you something first. Respect, or at least the illusion of it. Someone comes to you with a problem, a real one, a decision that actually matters. They explain the situation slowly, carefully. They lay out the options, the risks, the uncertainty. And then they look at you and ask, "What would you do if you were me?" And you feel it instantly. That subtle shift. You feel important, chosen, trusted. Because in that moment, they're placing your judgment above theirs. And most people can't resist that. So you lean in, you think it through, you analyze, you give them your best answer. You believe you're helping, but that's not what just happened. What actually happened is far more strategic. That person had a decision to make, a decision with consequences attached to it. Weight, risk, responsibility. And instead of carrying all of it themselves, they moved part of that weight onto you. Because now, they're not alone in the decision. You're in it too. And here's where the trap closes. If they follow your advice and it works, they take the credit. They made the call. They acted. They succeeded. Your role disappears. But if they follow your advice and it fails, everything changes. Suddenly, your words matter. You told me to do this. You said this was the right move. Even if they never say it directly, you feel it. That subtle blame, that invisible pressure, because your fingerprints are now on their outcome. And fingerprints are evidence. Niccolo Machiavelli understood something most people ignore: giving advice on someone else's life without control over the outcome is a losing position, because you inherit consequences without authority. And sometimes it's even darker than that. Sometimes they're not confused at all. They already know what they're going to do. They've already decided. But they still ask you, why? Because they want insurance. A second name attached to the decision. A fallback. Someone to point to if everything collapses. And by answering, you volunteer for that role without even realizing you applied. Think back. A time you gave someone advice and it didn't go well. Did they fully own it? Or did something in the dynamic shift toward you? Even slightly. That's the transfer. Silent, clean, effective. So the next time someone looks at you and asks, "What would you do if you were me?" You don't step into their life. You don't carry their weight. You don't sign your name onto a decision that isn't yours to live with. You redirect, calmly, Precisely. What are you leaning toward? Or, it sounds like you already know. You hand it back, where it belongs. You can listen, you can guide, you can ask questions that sharpen their thinking, but you never become responsible for their outcome, because the moment you do, you lose something you didn't even realize you were protecting, your separation. And without that, you don't just have your problems anymore. You have theirs too. That's the third question. And if you've been answering it your whole life, you've been carrying far more weight than was ever yours to hold. Number 4. The source extraction hunt. This is where it gets darker. The first 3 questions were about you, your agreement, your guard, your responsibility. This one, it turns you into a weapon against someone else. And most of the time, you don't even realize it. It starts like this. You confront someone. Maybe they lied. Maybe they moved behind your back. Maybe you finally have enough information to see what's really happening. So you bring it up. Direct, clear, controlled. And instead of responding to what you said, instead of addressing the actual issue, they look at you and ask, "Who told you that?" And just like that, the entire conversation shifts. Notice what just happened. You were talking about their behavior. Now you're talking about your source. The focus moved. Clean, fast, surgical. And if you follow that shift, if you answer that question, you lose twice. First, you betray the person who trusted you. Someone gave you information. They took a risk. They chose to tell you something real. And in one sentence, you expose them. Second, you hand your opponent a target, because now they don't have to deal with what they did. They have something better. Someone to silence, someone to discredit, someone to isolate, someone to remove from the equation. And once that person is gone, you go blind again. That's the real objective of the question. Not truth, control. Niccolo Machiavelli understood that information is power, but only if the source remains intact. The moment sources are exposed, they stop speaking. And when they stop speaking, you stop seeing. Think back. Every time someone asked you, "Who told you that?" Did the conversation ever return to what they did? Or did you get pulled into explaining yourself, defending how you found out, justifying why you even knew, while they sat back, untouched? That's not an accident. That's strategy. Because once you're defending the source, you're no longer attacking the truth. You've lost the frame. So the next time it happens, and it will, you don't follow the redirection. You don't give a name. You don't explain your access. You hold the line. It doesn't matter how I found out. Or even cleaner. That's not the point. And then you bring it back. To them. To the action. To the truth they tried to escape. Watch what happens when you do this. They hesitate. They try again. They push. Because without a source, they have nothing to attack. No target. No distraction. No exit. Only the reality of what they did. And that's exactly where they didn't want to be. Understand this clearly. Not everyone who asks this question is thinking strategically, but the effect is always the same. Exposure, damage, silence. So you make a rule. Your sources are protected, always. Because the moment people learn, you reveal them. They stop trusting you. And when that happens, you don't just lose information. You lose awareness. And without awareness, you're not just vulnerable. You're controllable. That's the fourth question. And by now, you should feel it. These aren't just conversations anymore. They're mechanisms. Each one designed to take something precise from you. But none of them work without the final one. The question that removes your resistance before any of the others even begin. Number 5, the trust trigger. This is the one, the master question, the root, the mechanism that makes every other trap in this video work. Because the first 4, they take something from you. This one removes your ability to resist completely. It sounds simple, harmless, even. Someone looks at you, steady eye contact, controlled tone, and they say, "You trust me, right?" And instantly, your body reacts. Not your logic, your conditioning. Because saying no doesn't feel neutral. It feels aggressive. It feels like an accusation, like you're calling them a liar, like you're the problem, like you're damaging the relationship over one small word. So you say it. "Yeah, of course." And the moment you do, everything opens. Every gate. Because now you're locked into a position where questioning them makes you inconsistent, makes you look unstable, makes you look like a hypocrite. You said you trust them. So when they cross a boundary and say, "You don't mind, right?" you hesitate, because pushing back now contradicts your trust. When they say, "Can I be honest with you?" you accept it, because you trust them. When they ask, "What would you do if you were me?" you step in, because you trust them. When they get exposed and ask, "Who told you that?" you feel the pull, because you trust them. Do you see it? That one word just gave them access to everything. A blank check, and they decide the amount. Every time. Niccolo Machiavelli wrote something most people misunderstand. The one who deceives will always find those willing to be deceived. This is how that willingness is created. Not by force, by invitation, because once you declare trust, you disable your own defense system. And here's the truth no one tells you. People who genuinely deserve your trust never ask for it. They don't need to. Their behavior already proves it. Consistency, time, action. That's where real trust is built. Not in a single question. Not in a single moment. Not in a single word. So when someone asks you, "You trust me, right?" you stop. You don't rush to fill the silence. You don't accept the frame. You don't give them what they're trying to extract. You step outside of it, and you respond with something they can't use against you. I pay attention to what people do. Or, trust is built over time. Short, neutral, unbreakable. Watch their reaction. The person who truly respects you, they accept it. They move on, because they never needed the word. But the one who needed that, yes, the one whose next move depended on it, they push, they insist, they get uncomfortable. And in that pressure, you see the truth. Because if their actions were enough, they wouldn't need your declaration. That's why this is the master question. Because every other trap feeds off it. Remove this, and the system collapses. The first 4 questions lose their power, because now you're no longer operating from blind trust. You're operating from observation, from control, from choice. 5 questions, 5 mechanisms. And this one was the key holding them all together. Break it, and nothing works on you the same way again. Now you see it. Not just the questions, but the structure behind them, the pattern, the quiet, invisible system that has been operating on you for years, without resistance, without awareness, without interruption. Look back at your life through this lens. Who keeps acting first and asking later? Because they know you'll always say, "It's fine"? Who uses the word honest right before they plant doubt in your mind? Who comes to you for advice? But somehow, the consequences always circle back to you when things go wrong. Who deflected your last confrontation? Not by denying anything, but by asking how you found out. And, more importantly, who keeps asking you to trust them with words, because their actions were never enough? Don't answer that out loud. Just see it. Because once you see it clearly, you can't unsee it. These 5 questions are everywhere. At work, in relationships, in friendships, in family dynamics. They don't look like manipulation. They feel like conversation. They feel like connection. They feel like being a good person. But understand this. There is a difference between being a good person and being an unprotected one. Up until now, you've been answering automatically. You've been saying yes when you should have paused, agreeing when you should have stayed silent, explaining when you should have held your position. And every time you did that, you gave something away, piece by piece, conversation by conversation, not because you were weak, because you were conditioned. But now, there's a gap, a space that didn't exist before. The pause, that single moment between a question and your answer. That's where everything changes. Because in that moment, you're no longer reacting, you're choosing. And that one shift is the difference between someone who gets moved in every interaction and someone who cannot be moved at all. In the coming days, you'll feel it. Real time. Someone will say, "You don't mind, right?" And you'll hear it. Not the words, the mechanism. Someone will say, "Can I be honest with you?" And you'll feel the setup before the strike. Someone will ask, "What would you do if you were me?" And you'll feel the weight trying to land on your shoulders. Someone will say, "Who told you that?" And you'll see the redirect as it happens. And when someone looks at you and says, "You trust me, right?" You'll see the check, the blank check, sliding across the table, waiting for your signature. And this time, you won't pick up the pen. You won't react. You'll pause. And in that pause, you take your power back. Quietly, completely. People will notice. They won't understand it, but they'll feel it. Something about you will change. You won't seem colder. You won't seem distant, but you'll feel solid, harder to influence, harder to move, like someone whose yes actually means something, because it stopped being automatic. And here's the truth most people won't accept. When you stop giving your agreement for free, you lose access to certain people. You lose the illusion of easy relationships. You lose the comfort of being liked by everyone. Because not everyone wants you powerful. Some people only function around you when you're easy to move, when you're predictable, when your answers come fast and without resistance. Remove that, and the dynamic breaks. They'll call you different, difficult, cold, changed, good. That's the cost. Because the alternative is living a life where every conversation slowly reshapes you, without your permission. Niccolo Machiavelli spent his life observing one brutal truth. People don't lose power in obvious ways. They lose it quietly, through small concessions, small agreements, small answers given at the wrong time. Most people will go their entire lives, never noticing the moment it happens, never hearing the question behind the question, never realizing why they keep ending up in positions they never chose. But you will, because now you hear it. And once you hear it, you can't go back. If this opened your eyes, understand this is only what I can show publicly. There are layers to this, deeper mechanisms of control, influence, and psychological leverage that simply cannot be discussed openly without being suppressed. The most powerful dynamics, the ones that actually shift how people respond to you on a fundamental level, are never put in front of everyone. That's where the real advantage is. Those exist behind the join button. If you're still here, you're not like most people. Most people hear this and go back to reacting the same way they always have. You won't. Subscribe if you haven't. But if you want what's hidden, click the join button and step into the next level. Most won't. That's the point. I'll see you in the dark.